what I want to start off with is this, Vethio, actually. When I was thinking of the Vethio point there, Zabatine, I even think of this now, dude. I think there's a world in which, imagine if Misfits actually did win that 5th game, because, man, who the fuck knows where Rogue would be at right now? Like, let's start with that, right? Every single person, Zabatine, I talked to, with the exception I noticed, I saw there was an interview where Humanoid, just now before yesterday's game, did think actually that, like, Rogue would make it and would place them, etc. Everyone else, no joke, that I've spoken to, basically said behind the scenes, like, it was the opinion of all pro players and coaches that, no, Rogue are actually the best. Like, there was maybe, like, a little bit of discussion, like, I've tried to bring up on shows of do they choke or not, but aside from that, everyone else was sort of like, no, this on paper is the best team, in the server it's the best team, as you saw in the regular split, and they should win the LEC. So Zabatine, give me some thoughts on Rogue not even making the final. I mean, they've been swept out twice now in a row. This is crazy.
I think the last time I was on this show, I already mentioned that to me, Rogue was really running in circles on the map, and I don't think they are as good as what people say, but I think that most of the people that are working within the industry, and I had this feeling in the past, because when you're screaming, the scrimmages don't last long. And the teams that are the best in lane and have the better players for the first 15 minutes of the game feels unbeatable, because your players are just going to give up once they get like a massive deficit, and you don't really have this tight game where you have to use the macro to win it. So from that sample, you have a huge bias, and everybody's going to feel like Rogue is unbeatable. But once they're on stage, they actually run into circles, like in circles most of the time on the map. And there was a massive gap in terms of what to do when you have the lead between, for instance, Fnatic and Rogue.
Yes.
Yesterday, and you've seen it even in their series against Misfits. It was not like Misfits, not like the perfect team, but they must beat them. So I was not really confident in, like, I was surprised that Rogue actually made Worlds, because I really thought they would lose to Misfits. They clutched the game 5. They're definitely, for me, not a title contender, not at least with the type of shot calling structure they have at the moment, because they are not doing anything with that lead.
Right, wicked. Funnily enough, I actually, when we were doing the watch party yesterday, I pointed out that there's actually a mad coincidence, which is, if people don't know, one of the original teams I heard the same story of, like in all the scrims, they're just doing too well in lane, so they essentially never play like a real macro game, was your old school like Alliance team. Like, can you talk to this? Like, can there be a scenario essentially where you're almost like too good at the first part of practice, so you don't get real practice?
So there can be a scenario where you're too good and you don't get real practice. You guys are saying we had that in scrims before the season at that time. We still did well in the season. But also, at the end of the day, right, Rogue actually looked good during the seasons. I actually think they were playing well. And they also got leads in all their games. They used the leads somewhat, and they won most of their games. Now, if you look at the games they actually played yesterday against Fnatic, for example, they got destroyed everywhere. Like, bot lane was doing really well, and that was about it. Top lane was losing. Mid lane was losing most of their games.
Invisible, mate.
Jungle was losing as well. And, like, who expected the jungler to lose? Like, who actually expected Reaper to stomp Inspired? Even completely out-jungling him. Like, I actually think Reaper played really well. I was extremely surprised.
Want to see more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, be a pleb and don't.